So on a more serious topic, one of the stories that we've been covering really closely is the movement of migrants by the Trump administration. Now they've just taken 177 migrants that we know of to Guantanamo, and then they moved these migrants. All of them, as far as we know, were Venezuelan, and they sent them to Honduras this afternoon.
Oh, they did go out today.
That's according to the White House and DHS. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they were transferred to Honduras. So, what do you make of this notion of sending migrants deporting migrants basically to countries where they're not from?
It is a change in our policy. I think that is clear. I think that raises some concerns. We know how we handle those that we have detained in this country. We may think we know how they are going to be handled or processed in other countries, but you don't have that certainty, I guess. So I think I share some of the skepticism about, all right, if these are countries that are basically going to just be holding those who have entered the country illegally, but are not from that country, I think that raises some concerns.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a question that our audience is always asking about is DACA. This DACA population, there's a Supreme Court case that seems that their future is very uncertain given the Supreme Court makeup and the Supreme Court case going forward. Do you see any opportunity in the current Congress to potentially make them whole from a status perspective?
Yeah, I have long been a supporter of finding that pathway for the DACA cohort, and it's been hard. You don't find a lot of people who disagree that those who have come to this country as young people, as children, who know no other country, who are students, who are serving in our military, that they're in this real limbo. It's been a true purgatory, and then through the courts and different administrations, it's been kind of a little bit of hope, and then you come crashing down, a little bit of hope, and then it falls again. So I would love to say that I feel good that we're going to finally address this, but right now I think with the Trump administration, the very keen focus is on securing our border, keeping those who are entering illegally, addressing that, stemming that tide. And so the focus on legal immigration, it just really hasn't been part of the broader conversation. I think it's going to have to be. We recognize that we have workforce issues and shortages. We certainly do in my state, and I know that in many different fields we're looking for different levels of skill sets. And so how we meet that would be great if we had all American workers, but we just don't in certain areas. So what is it that we need to do to really make sure that we've got a legal immigration process that works? I'm actually going through some emails right now. We have a small community of Ukrainians who came to Alaska when the war broke out. They were sponsored through a sanctioned program through the Department of Homeland Security, sponsored by Alaskan organizations. And given all of the uncertainty right now, my phone is literally, I'm looking at a text thread that probably has 25 different individuals that are weighing in on this particular group of Ukrainians that have been working in the community, that have really become part of a community, and now they're in fear that they're going to be deported with little to no notice. And
wow. And
so the question is what can you do? Well, you call your senator, and so there's a lot of concern and anxiety. These are people who do not want to overstay the process that has allowed them to be here legally and to work legally. Because if they do, then they fall into that illegal status.
Right.
And they're not seeking to violate the law, but what they are seeking is a recognition that the situation that caused them to come to the United States in the first place, which is war in their home country, war in their village, a threat within their own family there, that has not resolved itself. We are still, even with President Trump's efforts to try to bring this to a close, it is still a very dangerous place for many. And so seeking some level of surety right now is what we're trying to do. So,
Do you think that there's the opportunity to work with the Trump administration on some of these migrant issues? I mean, obviously they have like a very strong enforcement agenda, but Trump has said for a long time that he wants to help dreamers, and I think that and a lot of Americans obviously are going to support Ukrainian war refugees. A lot of Americans still supporting Afghan adjustment. Yeah.
All those who were there as interpreters. Yes, and so the question is a good one. Do I think that there is an area and an opportunity for us to be working with the Trump administration on it? Absolutely. And again, recognizing that these individuals came into the country through a lawful process that we had established, well vetted, and so I get that everyone wants to make sure that the vetting process is good, is solid, absolutely. But let's not unintentionally put people in a situation where they may end up being here on now an illegal basis because they have overstayed because of just kind of the upheaval that we're seeing going on right now. So
Right.
A lot of anxiety on